This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Judith.
And I'm Alina. We are internet friends turned real-life friends who both experienced the tragic loss of our sons to sudden infant death syndrome in winter of 2021.
In the year after Aiden died, my husband and I both became unemployed. My parents divorced, and we had to move 5 times for various reasons.
And as for me, just a few weeks before my son Quinn died, my then husband had come out to me as a transgender woman and were subsequently divorcing.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot.
But as long as we're living, we will love our sons deeply and work to make sure that we live a life that makes them proud.
Welcome to As Long As I'm Living podcast.
We're so glad you're here. Let me light a candle to set the vibes.
Hell yeah. I'll light a candle too.
Okay.
This is my Quinn candle that my mom got me for Mother's Day. It has this little picture on it.
That's really cute. That's like a cute gift.
Is it for Mother's Day? I don't know. It was some event. Some sad day. You know how it is. I have started a new show on Netflix called Snowflake Mountain.
Oh, my mom told me about it. Is it good?
It's ridiculous and so silly, but it's like influencers who are getting sent out into the wilderness and they have to like build a tent and like, I don't know. It's mindless.
Good. That's sometimes what we need. Right?
Yeah. Can you push the green button or actually rotate your microphone so the green button is facing you?
Amateur hour.
If it makes you feel better, I learned that that's true when I was on the Silent Y podcast, which I will link in the description, because they are like straight up professionals. Chris works for like the English equivalent of NPR, and he was like, Alina, your microphone's facing the wrong way.
I had no idea. Oh my God, that sounds so much better.
So much better.
For 7 months, I've been using my microphone backwards.
Let's be honest,
never told me that.
We don't use our microphones that frequently. Actually, I usually do, but I have a desk. I've always had an office, and this is now your first time recording in your office. So now, of course, you can have your mic.
Well, and there's a fan in the background, and
yeah,
I don't know. For some reason, I'm using my mic, and apparently I was using it wrong. So embarrassing.
Amateur hour.
Amateur hour.
All right, let's chat, Judah.
Oh my God. Okay. I want to say how funny it is that the last time we recorded, we were both feeling so good.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the saying? Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the phrase.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
It's true.
Okay.
Do you want me to start because my stuff's less pressing?
Sure, go for it.
Here's what's going on with me. I am starting a new job, and I started a new job on Monday. This is Wednesday as we record this, and I have been kind of ignoring it in my mind because I've had some time off between jobs, and I'm starting to straight up panic that I have to be a normal person in front of people. And they said that my first day is in the office, and I've been counting on everything being fully remote, and it is a remote job, but the idea of it is completely stressing me out. Like having to make small talk with new people. Oh, do you have kids? Blah, 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 blah. And then being like, oh, how's your husband? And then me having...
But why would anyone ask you how your husband is if they don't know if you don't have a ring on?
Oh, I get that question all the time. How's your husband dealing with it?
Because you say, oh, I have a son who died, and they're like, how's
and everybody assumes that I have a spouse. Yeah.
Right.
So I've been like all afternoon today, my mind has been racing, like trying to think of like how I want to answer the questions and like practicing it in my head. And I think I'm just going to like sidestep any marriage questions right up front and not get into all that and just say, yes, I have a son. And if they ask further, then I think I've decided I want to talk about him.
I do it all the time now that I go to synagogue. I just say it so casually that it goes by fast.
Yeah.
I do it so often now. I forget that I do it, and then I end up sounding awkward because like I'm not stressed enough about it.
Can I ask
I'll just be like, oh yeah, what?
Can I ask your opinion on whether or not I've been considering putting a picture of Quinn in the background of my Zoom calls?
Like you have here?
Yeah, it would be like this, except
normal. I think that's
And I
normal.
think because that means people will ask, oh, is that your son? And then that's kind of an opportunity for me to be like, yes, it is my son. And then if they ask further, it can say he died.
Yeah, but also people ask like, "Oh, do you have kids?" And then you say, "Yeah, I have a son. Unfortunately, he passed away." You have to say it fast and casual, like it's practice.
Fast and casual. I can
Yeah.
do this. I can do
Okay,
this.
let's practice. So, do you have any kids?
I actually do. I have a son, but unfortunately he died.
Oh my God, I am so sorry.
Oh,
my
thank
God.
you so much. Yeah, it's really sad. His name was Quinn.
You did most of that answer well, but you gotta redirect
Right away.
right away.
Like, don't say his name.
I wouldn't unless
Okay.
they ask.
Okay.
Let's practice again. Let's practice again.
Well, hang on. I also just want to say this is a tip I've learned. People say, I'm so sorry. And the thing that always feels comfortable for me to say and what feels like closes the conversational loop is, yes, thank you so much. It's so sad.
I say that
And
too.
move on.
I say, yeah, it's horrible. And then I say, so
Yes.
do you have kids?
And then
or like,
conversation
so
change. Excellent.
you
Good
gotta
thinking.
redirect the
Good
energy.
thinking. Good thinking.
Like you have to say,
Practice
so have
again.
you been at this is what I would say. I'd be like, so have you been at this company a long time? Like another very neutral question,
Nice.
but like just get off of it. Say it and then move on. Because
All right, let's
if you
practice
give
again.
people say, I'm so sorry, and then they're like, oh my God, that's horrible. And they like spiral out of control themselves.
They do. They really do.
Either they spiral out of control themselves or they ask you too many questions, and it is just so much better. Like people be like, oh, do you have any other kids? I'm like, oh yeah, unfortunately I have a son who passed away. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I know it's horrible. Oh, what are we gonna do? But thank God we've got her. Like, I just like it so and then I'm like, so have you lived here for a long time? Like, let's move along. Breezy. Keep it light. Keep it breezy. My baby's dead and the sky is blue.
And I'm starting a new job and I can do this.
Your baby's dead, you're starting a new job, your name is Alina, you've got blue eyes. Like, this is just a fact about you, you know, just
I
like
like
you have parents and you are from New Jersey.
Excellent. I love it.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with me. And then I will say the other thing that has been, I felt a lot of acute distress about this yesterday and just over the last couple of months, you already know this to be true, Judith, but I haven't said it much in the podcast, is I've really been suffering, feeling like I want to have a baby again. And I feel like I can talk about this in the podcast now because I actually talked about this with my boyfriend yesterday.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It went good. I mean, fine. I was like, I don't want to talk about this, but I was like hysterically crying. And so I had to explain.
What?
I was crying. And he was like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't want to talk about it. He was like, okay. And then I just kept crying and crying. And he was like, is there anything you want to talk about? And I was like, I just got to tell him that this is what's going on with me.
So what'd you say?
I said, this is like not something that really, I've been hesitating to talk to you about this because really this has nothing to do with you at all. But just so you know, I was like, all my friends know this already, but like, I've been really wanting to have another baby recently. I've been really like feeling it biologically. Cause like, you know, Quinn would be almost 2. And I feel like this is the time that my body is like, okay, we're ready. Like we've recovered. Let's knock out another sibling for the one you already have. And like, I just want to inform my body, like, hello, you've missed
And what'd he say?
You've missed some life happenings. He was sweet about it. He was just like that, you know, that makes sense and it doesn't scare me. And he was just like, okay, like I was like, I basically like framed it as like, this is just a feeling. And he was like, okay, thank you for sharing it with me. And then I was like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And he's like, okay.
How come you didn't want to talk about it?
Because I feel like that takes it down into like a marriage and kids train with a significant other, which is not really where I want it to go at that particular moment. You know,
You just had a big feeling you wanted to share.
Yeah. Felt weird not to share it with him. But anyway, I'm just feeling some big feelings about it. But honestly, I will say like not super acute. I've been doing like decently well, but just like, you know, some big feelings. I met a whole bunch of
But you've been doing really well.
I have. I was able to go on a whole weekend away with my boyfriend's friends this past weekend, and I acted like a normal person for 4 days.
I'm sure they really liked you.
4 days.
You're a likable person.
Yeah. Wait, there was one story I wanted to tell for the podcast. What was it? Oh, we were all sitting around the campfire and talking about prescriptions and not wanting to be dependent on things and whatever. And I was like, oh, like, you know, I have an Ativan prescription and I was worried about becoming dependent on it too. And my doctor was like, Alina, I gave you 30 Ativan 90 days ago and your baby's dead. Take more Ativan. And we're sitting around the campfire and I'm saying this, I'm like, and your baby's dead. And everyone was just like,
yeah, their face was like,
And I forgot like what
Yeah.
company I was in, and that like that's
I
what a
know, you
normal thing
forget
to
that there
say.
are normal people who are just like,
Anyway, that's enough about me. I'm done. So your daughter is
my
now
daughter's, she'll be 3 months tomorrow.
3 months, so she's
3
out
months.
with Aiden.
hmm
Yeah.
I had a thought the other day that I wanted to share with you. And the thought I had was that for the first time ever, I felt grateful that he never met his like cousins or his aunt or his uncle or his grandparents. Or the first time ever, I felt really glad that we had the time we had and the way we did, because I felt like I really got to know him in a way that I don't know my daughter. Because I think when other people, like we have company coming to visit her and like they spend time with her and they hold her. And like I was pretty much the only person who spent time with Aiden. Like I spent all time with him. And so I knew him so much better.
Mhm.
And I just felt like grateful that I didn't have any distractions, that we had this like magical special bond. Instead of feeling sad that everyone else didn't get to know him, I just felt like really grateful of how well I got to know him, you know?
That's nice.
So
it can be both,
I think it's mostly sad, but like it felt good to not be sad about that.
Yeah.
What else is going on with me? Like I feel uncomfortable talking about my husband's struggles with our daughter because it doesn't really feel like my story. That feels like his story to tell.
Yeah.
But I would say that, yeah, anyone can understand that like having a baby in the house that is the same age as your son who died would be really difficult and it could be really triggering. And I think for my husband, it kind of
it's triggering for him.
It's triggering. It's getting like to the point where it feels like it's beyond just like baby blues. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the baby's blues version of triggering is, but it definitely has been challenging for him. For me, I know it's so difficult for him. It's so difficult for him. Like her cries or her noises or her spit up or her small movements, they all seem to be triggering this response in him of pain and, wanting to hide. And it's challenging. It's challenging for a number of reasons. I mean, it feels challenging to me because obviously I have to do more work and having a baby is hard. That's one thing. But I think it's also like challenging for me to watch because I desperately wanted this baby and I wanted happier ever after. I wanted a happy time. I wanted this time in my life to be so joyous. And it's not. I mean, it's not that I'm not happy. It's just that it's really tinged. It feels like there's a shadow of loss all over.
Yeah.
I feel like Aiden's loss like spit up all over my daughter or like
and because there's
shit all
two
over
of you, it's like you can each be feeling different things at different times. So you could be having a good day and he's having a terrible day, or vice versa.
Yes, that's happened.
It's hard to drag yourself forward when someone else is dragging you back. It just happens, right? Yeah. Together.
And it feels really difficult because I feel like I really worked so hard to get myself in a good spot. And I went through 9 months of preparation. Like I knew it was going to be hard. And so I spent time while I was pregnant preparing for it. And it felt like for my husband, he's just starting to come to the reckoning that this is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And it's just been really hard at home. It's been really difficult for me and for him. And it just feels like I may not be in the hole right now, but I'm certainly watching my husband at the bottom of the hole.
I would say your household is in the hole.
Our household is in the hole.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising given the situation, but it's difficult. And, it's really hard because everyone's like, oh, you must be so happy. It's such a joyous occasion for the whole family. Oh, it's wonderful. It's beautiful. And it is those things. But I also want to say, like, it's really hard.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as, like,
joyous,
straightforward and joyous as I think people want it to be.
Yeah.
So I'm struggling. And I know I shared this with you earlier that in terms of you and I had a whole conversation to prepare ourselves for what if you felt like jealous of me having a baby or envious that I had an alive baby. But I don't think that you and I ever prepared for the reality that like you could have a partner that is stable and a partner that can support you and a partner that has extra space to just like love on you all the time. And like, I'm really jealous of that right now. Like, I'm jealous that you have someone who can think beyond themselves because they don't have
the
loss of their child to contend with. And right now I could use like a little bit more.
Even the story I just told, what was that, like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Where I was crying and he came up to me and said, "What's going on?" in a really kind, nice way. Like everybody deserves to have that. And I think.
And then Alina, and then he sat there and was able to differentiate that your big feeling had nothing to do with him.
Yep.
And he was able to just be supportive to you and your big feeling as opposed to taking it personally. And I think all of us in our best moments, or not all of us, you and I in our best moments are able to differentiate between a big feeling and it being personal. I think because my household is so stressed and under just so like a cloud of darkness that an interaction like the one you're describing in my house right now would have gone completely different. Yeah. And I have a wonderful, loving, kind-hearted husband, but right now he's feeling big feelings and we both can't have these huge explosions of feelings at the same time. Yeah. Neither of us are sleeping. Both of us are triggered. Both of us are scared all the time. And it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is that I was not prepared to feel the way I feel towards you, which is like really jealous and envious and irritated that like you get to be in a happy spot and I'm still dealing with like this shit.
Yeah. So let's talk about how do you want to handle this? Like, how can I support you through this? Just quit talking about it?
No, nothing. No, of course you can talk about it. There's nothing for you to do. I just have to acknowledge that that's my feeling. Yeah. Like,
I'll acknowledge it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. I just want to say that you kind of have like, not to sit here and like analyze all the blessings you have, because you have certainly like a ton of non-blessings, but like you, like another blessing that you have is you're not married.
Yeah.
You're not married. You can go home.
Legally, I am married, but yes.
Legally, you are married, but you're not married. You can go home to your privacy of your apartment and for days on end, just take care of yourself. And you don't have to worry about managing your emotions to not trigger someone else. You don't have to worry about like who's going to take care of the cats, you or him. Like you don't have to worry about that resentful feeling that I think every partner has when they're like, I asked you 5 days ago to take out the trash and the trash is still not out. Like you are in control of your entire space and you get like a loving partner and whoever you marry, who let's say doesn't have trauma, like would likely have a child and like be like so happy and like not have to sit there and have a panic attack in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I've been feeling a little jealous recently.
Yeah. I think that jealousy is probably one of the hardest feelings in a friendship because it's not the feeling that you want to feel for your friend's happiness, right? And I think you are very good at holding both. You are so happy for me. I know that's true. And you also are having such a hard time with it because it's so stark. Like I can feel how good it is for me to have this person who's taking care of me. And I wish you had that for you too, but you can't have that right now. You just can't. Right. And it sucks.
It sucks.
And like, I'm jealous you have a new baby, but honestly, I'm less jealous that you have a new baby, I think.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think I'll tell you what I think it is. I think it's clear that when you look at my situation, it's clear it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's clear having a baby is so hard. It's clear having a baby like this age is so hard.
Yeah.
So I think that you're able to like look at the whole situation and be like, okay, I want that for myself, but that's not a walk in the park.
Right.
I feel like I look at your situation and I'm like, that looks like a walk in the park. Okay, let me tell you everyone, since you're all listening, I spent the day with Alina and her boyfriend. Not even a day. What was it, 3 hours?
Yeah.
They're nauseatingly happy. Like to the point where you just kind of like got to give them space because like you can feel their happiness like oozing everywhere. And it's like a little like extra too much, you know, sometimes you're just like, okay, I'll let you guys go upstairs. Cause like, it's a little intense. I feel the intensity. I'll tell you one time, there was only one time because I was with them only one afternoon, but Alina's boyfriend and I went paddling
on the paddle.
And on the way back, I've never seen a guy run back to Alina. Like we were just like having a leisurely paddle, but the guy like couldn't be away from Alina for more than 5 minutes. He was like racing back. he was like running through the wind. He was like, as if there was no problem at all. He's like, I got to get back to Alina so we can go make out on the dock, you know? Like, I'm not even exaggerating. I think if he was here, he'd be like, yeah, I had to get back.
He left you to fend for yourself out in the lake.
No, I was totally fine. I just wasn't. What I was saying is I was not in a hurry. I was just enjoying my paddleboard because to me, like, there was nothing better I could be doing. I was just enjoying the paddleboard. It was so beautiful. But like to him, he was like, yeah, why would I be paddling when I could be with Alina? And that's like something that like is only what like people who are like young and in love think. The rest of us who've been married for 10 years are like, I'll see him in 5 minutes.
I'll see him later today.
I'll see him later.
Whenever.
I'll see him tomorrow, but I won't be on this lake tomorrow. There's nothing magical about his lips that are better than me sitting here like paddling and the beautiful breeze, like swimming in the water. Like, so anyway, my point is that you can see how difficult my situation is, but yes. I know your situation is not difficult.
That and particular
this particular part
is not difficult.
Right. The part that I'm envious of is not difficult. And the part that you're envious of me of is difficult. Yeah, I don't think you look at me and think she's having a walk in the park. I think to yourself, I'd rather sit on this paddleboard than go do all Judith's shit right now.
That is well put, Judith.
Just like really think that you guys have such a good thing going. And I don't think that, I hope that nothing bad happens. I hope that you guys literally swim to paradise and like live the happiest life. Like you deserve every single second of joy. Just because I want it to does not mean I don't want you to have it.
You will have joy again, Judith. It's not all.
Of course I will. And I have such a wonderful marriage. I'm not saying I don't.
Think about
I'm just saying it's really hard.
How bad you were feeling a year ago and if that's where your husband is now.
Yes. That's how I feel about it. Alina, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I feel like he's where I was a year ago. And how could I possibly be frustrated or angry or whatever, like when I know how incapacitated you feel in the beginning stages of grief.
But you can hold two things. You can be super understanding and compassionate and also just be like, I'm fucking tired.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm tired. One thing that I know you and I spoke about on the trip that I like loved is just, I felt like it was because I didn't have any responsibilities.
Yeah.
Except to like be awake and not even that responsibility. Like it felt so good to have so much space for my needs and my wants and my feelings. And like, I just felt like I could like do whatever I wanted and feel whatever I wanted. And I could just like vomit up my wants and needs.
Puddle of feelings on the floor.
Yeah, I could take up so much space. And I think it's really hard to go from taking up so much space with your like your feelings and your wants and your whatever, and almost the space where I was able to be selfish. You know, I want to eat that donut. I ate the donut. I wanted to eat 2 cinnamon buns. I ate 2 cinnamon buns. Like to go from that feeling of like doing whatever you want to like, okay, I have to be sensitive to the fact that my husband is suffering. Yeah. I have to like, just make space. Yeah, like if
bedtime and the bath and the baby care too. Like that's not nothing.
Oh my God. Yeah, the baby care is like
obviously, I mean, I'll say it for Judith because I know this is what she's about to say. Obviously, she's so happy to do it and she loves the baby.
Yes, I do.
But it is so hard. It is
so hard.
It's a slog. Baby care is so joyful too. It really is, but it's still such a slog and it's so tiring. In the best of circumstances, it's exhausting, and you do not have the best circumstances. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So okay, that's how I am. Oh, and I'm so sorry. Gotta add this in. And I'm going back to work. And like now I'm having like these work meetings.
Yeah.
And I'm like having to dedicate my energies elsewhere. So it's like I'm dealing with like my husband. I'm dealing with my baby. And I don't have childcare yet, and I'm dealing with my work needs. And it's like, you know, a coworker will send me an email and be like, "I need this," and I'm like, "No, you don't. You don't need that. I don't care if you want that."
In 10,000 directions right now.
I am, and I'm tired, and it's hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I saw a woman at the pool today reading a book, and I just thought to myself, "Wow, you're just gonna sit there and read that book?"
Wow. Someday you'll read a book again, Judith. Someday.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow.